A professional counselor in the Dallas area is growing in popularity for his treatment methods.
How do you talk to kids about terror? And with social media and television, it's everywhere, and it's unavoidable for kids.
Rusty Lozano is the founder of the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy. He's also been nationally recognized for his work with brain mapping.
He's created a gym to work out the mind. His office features an obstacle course.
Rusty Lozano is a licensed professional counselor, helping children with headaches, with anxiety, ADHD, and more.
Here's where Lozano comes in. He teaches kids how to think their pain away with something called biofeedback.
A North Texas therapist is treating patients in this unconventional way.
We have Rusty Lozano who's joining us today. He's a licensed professional counselor.
He put together an unusual treatment for teenagers who are struggling with mental issues, except he's taking this now a step further.
Rusty Lozano, a leading therapist and pediatric biofeedback therapist based in Texas at the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy. And Rusty, thanks for being with us tonight.
Rusty Lozano, a father of 4 and also a professional counselor in Texas, says it's all about being a credible resource to your children.
The Therapy Hour with Rusty Lozano, your dedicated resource for mental health news, views, and tips you can use. Brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy in Addison, Texas. And now, here's Rusty.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the Therapy Hour. I am your host, Rusty Lozano. Thank you for joining us. We have a really good show today, especially if you're a parent. If you're a parent with children, if you're a parent with children and little girls, this is a very powerful show. I think it's going to send the right kind of message because you know, being a father of 4, I have 3 girls. And prior to me being a father, I never realized how complicated the little girl's world is. You know, you see them playing, you know, in the dirt. You see them playing with sticks. And as they slowly grow up, all of a sudden something changes. They want to dress differently. They want to listen to different kinds of music. They want to now start having a different kind of style. And then we go shopping, and you see just tons and tons of choices. I mean, there's an entire section dedicated to accessories, like, you know, necklaces and bracelets. There's an entire section dedicated to makeup, and then, you know, men get a little section of clothing to choose from. Like we get a corner of a building, right, a little corner of a floor, and you can find everything right there. It just kind of, you know, just pondering like how complicated things can be. So much for these little girls. And so as they get older, little girls face more pressure, societal pressure from peers, and then the need to fit in and body image issues, self-esteem issues. And it can be really overwhelming. It can be a very scary time. And so, you know, as parents are you know, maybe slightly unaware of like some of the self-esteem issues that little girls have, they start to encounter them as they run into issues. So joining us today, I brought the very lovely Courtney Kennebeck. She's a supermodel, and her experience, she's done over 100 covers, Vogue magazine, 17, Marie Claire. She's also have worked in campaigns for L'Oreal, Revlon, Guess, and Jordache. She's worked with some of the likes, a little bit ahead of her time, with Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Bridget Hall. And she was also with agencies, the elite agencies, Elite Ford. And so she's here to talk to us a little bit today about some of the issues that little girls go through and what can be done, like bullying components, self-esteem issues. So our segments today is we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, who Courtney Kennebeck is, what was her experience being a supermodel. Our second segment's going to be self-esteem and values. Third segment's going to be kindness and body image. And then the fourth is going to be what organizations and resources are out there for parents regarding bullying, mean girls, and things like that. So she's going to join. She's full of information. I really enjoy talking to you. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. You know, you're very lovely. You're a very lovely woman. And
Thank
I think,
you.
you know, actually, when I actually posted that you're coming onto the show, there was a lot of course, men that were saying, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and there were little cartoonies like of a dog giving like a little dog flowers, and I'm sure that you probably have gotten a lot of that in your lifetime.
I do. I will. For the most part, I don't pay a lot of attention to it. I mean, the nice things are very nice when people are sweet, but
that's
take it as a compliment.
It is, and it's a huge compliment. But it's not who you are, because as I got to know you, and also joining us here is Miss Sammy Nice, and that's just your daughter, and she's just the sweetest thing ever.
Can you say hi, Sam? Because you've the first time ever she
Yay.
said hi on the radio.
Awesome. She's here for the part. You got it, kid. Courtney, so you're genuinely nice. I got to know you, and I was just super impressed with like how down to earth you are, and like how just genuine you are, and you're just real. What was it like for you to go into modeling? How old were you? When did this all start for you?
I started probably really closer to 14. I was approached probably about 12, and my parents really didn't want me to. And at 14, I was just doing some little things because my parents were really against me modeling, and they had sort of set me up not to do it. But we'd gone to New York on 2 separate occasions, and one elite owner, John Casablancas, had approached me, and my parents said, no, she's not going to do it. And then randomly I saw Eileen Ford another time I was there, and my parents said no. But so really it was about 16 when they were filming a Disney movie on my street in Tacoma, Washington. And I was the babysitter for the family where they were filming it. And the guy said he was going to put me in the movie. Parents said no. We were going on vacation, but they sent me to an agency in Seattle. And I just remember the whole way there, my parents were telling me, don't be upset if they don't take you. Don't worry about it. And we got there, and I think I left for Milan like 5 days later with my mom.
And that's what you said. It was crazy how fast things happen. I mean, they swooped you up, and now you're in the European circuit.
It was, but my parents never really were into any of that. I mean, by the time when I got there, I'd only taken headshots for school, so that was the only posing I knew how to do, and that didn't really work out very well for me. But I had no idea who Versace was, and that was my first job. And on one hand, it was really good because I was not impressed at all. I thought, oh my gosh, these weird sparkly clothes. I just want to wear like jeans.
Yeah.
Especially I was from Washington State, so I was all into like Pearl Jam and Nirvana.
Yeah, the grunge movement.
Right.
Yeah, that's
they wanted me to cut my hair, and I was like, no.
Skater girl.
Right.
Well, so here you are. You're in this European circuit. You're being introduced to these clothes. You're young at this point.
I was
You're
really
very young.
I was lucky that my mom was always able to go with me.
And I did meet your mom, and she's super grounded.
Thank you.
Really sweet lady. Very genuine as well. Very approachable. So at that age, there's a lot of things that probably people were thinking about you that you had no clue. I mean, there's a lot of innocence at that age.
I mean, what's really horrible is my first kiss was a job for Glamour. And it was, I was a late bloomer. Yes, that's fantastic to admit that. But I was about 16, and it was a perfume. It was a 2-page beauty. And the poor guy that had to kiss me was like 24, and he looked up, and just tears were running down my face. So, yes, it was a very different world for me.
It's very different. And so there's a lot of things that you probably had to figure out on your own, but one of which, and I'm sure that it was at some point that you knew that you looked a little different. You looked nice. I'm sure, you had that awareness. But was that confidence really there?
I look back, and I don't think I ever really had that much confidence. I never thought I was especially beautiful or special in any way. When I went back, unfortunately, in high school, they were really good. But my friends really kept me grounded, but they never thought, I never got this fame, from that. And if anything, they were mean to me a little bit for leaving during the summer. But I remember we would have camera crews come in to interview, and my friends would just disappear. Like no one wanted to talk to them. I think they were trying to be protective of who I kind of was.
Yeah, they knew. I mean, they knew who you were.
Right.
So at that age, then, here's all these people that have this interest in you, and they're talking about like putting you in a movie, and your parents said no. What was their rationale for that at that point?
my parents really just wanted me to go to school. My dad was a banker, and they were just really focused on me going to school. I got really good grades. I think what saved me a little bit, although, if I look back, I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have been better. I would have made so much more money. But I was extremely shy. I had a lot of problems. I called everyone Mr. and Mrs., which is, in that world, not everyone's a fan of because of ageism. They don't want, if they're 20, they don't want to be called Mrs. by a 16-year-old. Yeah. But I think that I just had no knowledge, so I didn't really care. I wasn't that excited about everything. I remember my first time I got British Vogue, I refused to go because I had a cross-country meet and we were state champions. And it just didn't even faze me to want to go do it. Looking back, I wish I would have done it sometimes. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I was very into who I was and what I did at school.
And so your parents were trying really hard to keep you grounded in like what was natural. I mean, what's the normal stages of development?
Right.
And they were very protective of
Very
you.
much so. I mean, most people would have gone to the professional school in New York, the one where Macaulay Culkin went, or moved up there or quit school. A lot of people quit school. That was pretty normal. And I sort of did that when I went on to university. But by then I was 18. But no, my parents wouldn't let me miss prom and all those things I had to do.
That kept you grounded. If you're just joining us, we're visiting with Courtney Kennebeck, supermodel Courtney Kennebeck. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
If you love cats, Michael Berry is not for you.
I can't stand cats.
Always thinking a little outside the litter box.
I'm not going to be on the same template as the other radio shows.
Monday afternoon at 5 on Talk Radio 1190.
You appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 7788 at checkout. Code 7788.
The right way to do things. For us at WeatherTech, it's the only way to do things. I'm David McNeil, founder of WeatherTech. A long time ago, our company had a decision to make about where we wanted to manufacture our floor liners. And to tell you the truth, it wasn't a hard decision. We wanted to manufacture the highest quality, most advanced vehicle floor protection in the world. We also wanted to do our part in helping our neighbors, helping the economy, and protecting the planet we all share. That's why we chose to build our new factories right here in America, using American raw materials, American tooling and equipment, and of course, hiring American workers. So now that you know how much effort we put into doing things the right way, just imagine the kind of detail that goes into the craftsmanship of creating our floor liners. Learn more today about our full line of automotive accessories at WeatherTech.com or call 1-800-CarMats. WeatherTech Floor Liners. Complete protection. Completely American-made.
Texas. It's a big state with a whole lot of wind blowing around. What can we do with all that wind? Or what do you say we power all of our homes with pure, 100% wind energy? At Breeze Energy, we're totally 100% green. We don't do coal or nuclear, and we never will. So why not go with the wind? Go to breezeenergy.com. We think you'll see we're a genuine breath of fresh air.
Lumber Liquidators' 13th annual April sale is here. It's the biggest hardwood flooring clearance event of the year. Get once-in-a-lifetime prices on top-quality North American and European laminate from 29 cents. Our lowest price on our thickest 12mm laminate for just 79 cents. 150 styles of pre-finished hardwood from 89 cents. 30 varieties of pre-finished bamboo from 179. Plus clearance prices on vinyl plank, woodlook tile, and more at your local store. There are just too many deals to list. And special financing. Visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you and get to the famous April sale today.
You're listening to the Therapy Hour with Rusty Lozano, brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy in Addison, Texas.
Hi, we're back from the break. If you're just joining us, we're visiting with Courtney Kennebeck, supermodel, and we're moving into our second segment, which is self-esteem and values. And we did get we did kind of poke into this a little bit, but I want to hear a little bit more about self-esteem from your perspective. So you had mentioned that you were actually a little shy.
Terribly shy.
Yeah. And so what happened? I mean, what transformed or what happened to your self-esteem in development? Because if you think about, I'm thinking about in my field, the developmental theory, that we slowly kind of develop. And, around that 14, 15, 16-year-old, I mean, really around 12, 13, you start to actually develop your identity and your sense of autonomy, independence. And so now you're in this world where, I don't know if you saw in you the money, like if it went to your parents.
I didn't make. You don't make that much in the beginning, but then yes, they let me have it. Thankfully.
But then here you're doing shoot after shoot, and you're right in the midst of like development, 14, 15, 16, around there, correct?
Yep. Just when I started, I think for models is what people sort of have a misconception of is one that it's an easy job. It's really a hard job. It's pretty tiring, and if anyone who's ever had their picture taken, they need to do about 100 poses right there. Right then they know that it's a job because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to sit there and act all different ways when 10 people are just staring at you. So that's one of the bridges I had to cross to get a little braver. And for me, though, I think the most important thing was it was a business, and I'm very driven for work. My dad, I have a charity that I started with one of my best friends that's based on our fathers for veterans. And they both, did the GI Bill, and they came from very poor areas and went on to do great things. And I think that's always been in the back of my mind that this is a business, and I wanted to make money, and I wanted to do a really good job because of what I was giving up. It didn't make me very cool or popular a lot of the times in the modeling world. I went to bed when everybody else was partying. I didn't do a lot of things, and because of my shyness, and probably people called me Miss American Pie. And when I was in Miami, I remember one time people dropped off an ice bucket at my door for like 7 days straight because I was an ice queen. But
wow!
So I wasn't popular, but I made really good friends, and it didn't really bother me because my goal was working. But on the other part of that, when I was told, when you're told really harsh things, I mean, right to your face, you go on about 7 or 8 castings a day and meet people, and you only have a moment to impress them. And it's not just your book, it's your personality. And so you learn very fast to try to engage them. And that, got me over my shyness. But people will say, in front of you, they're talking to like 5 people. I don't really like her hair, or, her butt's a little big, and just, pretty horrible things that you start to build up this resistance to. I mean, I think the worst thing that really ever happened to me was when I first started. And my measurements weren't great. I didn't have a waist, and they called me in and seriously suggested for me to remove 4 ribs, 2 on each side, so I could get a waist. And I remember considering it, thinking, well, like that seems like a good move, to remove bones from my body. Yeah. And my parents were like, "You're not going to do that. That's crazy."
Wow.
But people do. They have a lot of do a lot of different things to try to.
Jeez,
and like it.
The amount. Let's transfer this into like the adolescent girl world, and like things being said to you directly, or rumors being spread, like, oh, she's she sleeps around, or oh, look at her, she's too fat, and like look at those clothes and silliness. What could you say to parents about like what did you do in that moment when they're saying lose some ribs, your butt's too big? Can you recall like what it is? I
remember being really sad, and I remember it affecting me in and it wasn't like I just blew it off and I had such great self-esteem that it didn't bother. It really hurt me. But I think the end goal was what I was always stronger than most people, and I think that's what we need to teach our children is I try to reverse it to a different occupation. So if it's like a basketball player and they say, well, your layups are awful, you need to, to go do this for your layups, that person would go do that for their layups. And just because in the modeling world, they're talking about your body, I was able to kind of put it back in that perspective. But I knew that I don't think I ever gave up the fact that this was something I could do and this was a job I can do. So not letting go of who you are.
holding on to the grounding that maybe your parents...
My parents taught me, absolutely. And just...
So you remember. So you stopped. First you were sad, and then you remembered, like, how your parents, like what they said to you, and like the things that they said to encourage you.
Absolutely.
And, like, build your self-esteem.
I mean, I was really lucky to have my parents. And I think that if we can all be those kind of parents, like my parents are, I had something to fall back on. I had people that believed in me. I mean, there's a lot of horror stories in modeling with girls that, have come from poor places that are doing it for their families. They can't go back. They can't, I mean, it's a crazy world. I mean, they're stuck. Or they just have their families have been bad and they don't have anywhere to go.
What did your parents say to you? Like, what would they say to you? What do you recall, like, some of the lessons that they would actually say?
My parents really always told me, and this is a two-edged sword. They said that I needed to always be nice to people because I was special, and it was great to be special. I think that on occasion went too far because I was nice to people that didn't deserve my niceness in return. And I've kind of figured that out later in life. But they just my mom, I just remember, teasing her as like a 6-year-old, and she said I could do anything I wanted to do. And I was like, well, I'm going to be an astronaut. And she's like, well, then go be an astronaut. It was
That's
never
awesome.
a doubt that she had when she said it.
Yeah.
And I try to, give that to my daughter. I've had people have told her because of her hyperkinetic that she can't go do different things. And I'm like, you absolutely can go do whatever you want.
What's interesting is this even reminds me of my own struggle in school and how a lesson that my father always taught me, and he would repeat it, and I actually teach it to my own kids. When you get knocked down, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going.
Absolutely.
You really do remember these things, don't you?
You do. There's no crying in baseball. Get back up.
Yeah, exactly. Look it up.
Absolutely. My parents didn't really, my dad especially, didn't really like the feeling sorry for yourself. And I see now as I'm older how important that is because it doesn't help you. Go do something more worthwhile. Help someone else if you are hurt. And yes, things still hurt my feelings constantly. I don't have a day where
human, right?
Things don't. But I do try to help other people and do other things because it does make you feel better.
So parents sending messages of encouragement, reinforcing that, really, really important.
Believe in your child. Absolutely, because that's what they need the most.
Yeah, I mean, and it is really important. And they do listen, even though they're rolling their eyes or they're just like, whatever, and they walk away. They're hearing your message. I've said the same thing to parents before, even though they're sitting there and they're upset. I'd look at the parents and say, he's listening.
Absolutely. I mean, Sam got called in. Sam told someone at her school that she was perfect, and she got called into the principal's office, and I got a call. And Sam got very upset with the principal because the principal said, no one's perfect. You can't say that. And she said, well, you better call my mom. My mom said I'm perfect.
So
she believes it.
Absolutely. Well,
and to me, she is. So
absolutely.
It's not a fib.
Yeah, I mean, mistakes and all. Kids are going to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And I always reinforce the parents to remind kids that mistakes are an essential part of development. I mean, how else are you going to improve?
And how are you going to learn?
How are you going to learn? Exactly. And, and this is the second show I've made reference to this, but the show Inside Out, the Disney movie.
Oh my gosh, I hate that movie.
Oh, you do?
It makes me cried the whole time.
It's really sad.
It's so sad.
Bing Bong,
it
poor guy.
breaks
That was
me
my
heart.
favorite guy ever. But what the message that I got out of that movie is that you need these hard times. You need difficulty.
Just don't want anyone to suffer.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, but it makes you stronger. And
absolutely.
And I call that the concepts of scaffolding. You're under development. All these kids are under construction, and you have to appreciate that. And I think it's made me more humble to know that when my kid breaks a plate or spills milk or is acting up, that this is a necessary part of development, and to be patient with them.
And I think when it was very sad for me to watch. I think we forget that kids are struggling all the time too. They have we're making all these decisions and doing all these things. And they just sort of have to follow along and go by what we're doing, but don't always feel great about it. We have to take the time to talk to our kids and spend time with them.
And that's really important. Whether you do it at night before they go to sleep or whether, at the moment. I mean, I'm a big fan of catching and redirecting as soon as it happens.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't let it roll off your back. It doesn't matter who's listening. It doesn't matter what the environment is. I mean, if you need to stop and say something to them, and parents get it.
Absolutely. I think stopping in the moment is always the best thing, I think, and reminding your child you're on their side always.
Absolutely.
When Sam's been in trouble with other people, I know that I've stood there and said, I'm on her side, and I'll figure out what she's done, but I'm on her side.
First and foremost.
First and foremost. I'm not going to agree with the other people.
Yeah, yes. And
that's I don't let her be bullying or be mean. It's been adults. But, I do. She definitely does get in trouble if she's mean to other people, so she strives to not do that.
Yeah, and Hannah, it's the same way. I think that's something that we learn to value in our own children, and it's about picking them up. It's about continuing to pick them up. So in regards to self-esteem, the message here is that you're always encouraging, and it's the parent's voice that matters. There's a lot of stuff floating around on the internet, a lot of assumptions, especially women, and now they're objectified, and now they're seeing the effect that now pornography has on women in relationships, and there's a lot of awareness now, and I think that awareness and encouragement is going to give the kids, just like it did for you, the voice in the back of the head when you have the ice bucket out in front of your door, Ice Queen,
right?
That you're holding on to these messages that your parents actually instilled in you.
I do, and I think it's taken me longer than probably most people, but believing in yourself is the most important. And when you do well, it's very hard to, when you do well, when you know you're doing something well, to focus on that, not to focus on what people are saying. Because I find when people are saying really mean things, it's really a reflection of them.
Yes.
There's no reason for people to be haters or whatever you want to call it, but focus on what you're doing well, and it's very hard to do.
Very hard to do.
I had a big 2-year struggle recently of doing that, but
and we're going to talk about that. We're going to take a quick commercial break.
Stuff.
We'll be right back after this message.
This is Pete the Fast Freak, host of Race Talk, the motorsports talk show, heard every Sunday live from 4 to 6 p.m. right here on Talk Radio 1190. When the races are over, we're just getting started with the latest news and results from NASCAR, NHRA, the IndyCar Series, and what's going on right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth racing scene. So join me, Pete the Fast Freak, every Sunday live right here on Talk Radio 1190 from 4 to 6 p.m. for the latest in the world of motorsports. And remember, keep your racing on the track, not on the street.
At Freeman Toyota, we get it. It's all about value. Hello, this is Dane Miner, General Manager of Freeman Toyota. And right now, we've got real value for you. Lease the 2016 Camry LE for $199 a month for 36 months. Or choose our fuel-efficient Corolla for $179 a month for 36 months. Either choice, you can't go wrong. These are Toyotas, my friend. They're meant to get you further, work a lot harder, provide real dependability, and at these prices at Freeman Toyota, they won't drain your bank account. Think about it. Drive the #1 selling car in America, the Toyota Camry, for only $199 a month. Wow, now that's value. Or zip around in your new Toyota Corolla for a mere $179 a month. Freeman Toyota, a real family-owned and operated business, and we love our customers. Come see Freeman Toyota on the affordable side of the Metroplex at 183 and 820, just south of the Northeast Mall. Call 1-800-NEW-CARS or online at freemantoyota.com.
Call 888-389-2710 for lease details.
Be honest. Will owning a bigger TV help you get ahead in life? Will another pair of shoes make you a better person? Probably not. But what if you could speak another language? If acquiring a new language excites you more than acquiring more stuff, then wait until you hear this. As part of its biggest language learning event in history, Rosetta Stone is giving away demos of its powerful language learning software absolutely free. For your free demo, call 1-800-600-6117. And Rosetta Stone has made language learning more convenient than ever. Learn on your computer or iPad, then practice on the go with your smartphone or MP3 player without ever opening a book or memorizing boring vocabulary again. Do you want more stuff, or do you want a language that will last a lifetime? After all, it's all about priorities. To try a free demo of this powerful language learning software, call 1-800-600-6117. Again, get your free demo now. 1-800-600-6117. That's 1-800-600-6117.
You're listening to the Therapy Hour with Rusty Lozano, brought to you by the Center for Biofeedback and Behavior Therapy in Addison, Texas.
Hi, we're back from the break. And if you're just joining us, we're visiting with Courtney Kennebeck. She's a supermodel worked with the likes of L'Oreal, Revlon, Guess, and Jordache. This next segment, we're going to talk about kindness and body image and bullies.
Bullies, those bad bullies.
And mean girls.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, and it's what I find this the most bizarre, and I actually, called someone out on this recently, is I think society kind of looks at people like I'm supposed to be the mean girl. That's the image that we have from Hollywood, is that I would be the mean girl. But for the most, I can pretty much say that I don't know any models that are mean girls. We're just trying to do our thing, but the mean people are mean to us. I know everybody has mean girls at their school, but if you look, I want to caution people to look at them. They're not the best people. I think that we have that idea in our head, but there's a reason that they're mean girls is because they're unhappy.
Yeah. My daughter, Hannah, actually had a situation with a friend, and she's super cute kid, real pretty girl, where a friend of hers said, a supposed friend, you have the boyfriend, you have the horses, you have the house, your parents are really nice, you have everything. And then this girl, it's a hot and cold kind of relationship, and she can say some really mean things to her. Do you experience things like that? Have you experienced that in your own?
Absolutely. I've had really good friends turn on me, and I see it a lot now. I have a really good friend who just got engaged, and I was so excited and, put it up. And he's just met the love of his life, and it happened really fast for them. And they're just this happy couple. And I remember, because right after it happened, people who didn't even know them said, were coming to me and like, well, they didn't seem to know each other. Just really goofy things that really stopped me in my track, because it was people that felt like they wanted to get involved. They didn't know the situation, and they really just wanted to hate on other people's happiness. And I see that happen so much here, so much more sadly than I saw in New York. And I think it's because people have too much time on their hands and they're not fulfilling their own dreams. So let's go pick on other people's. Yeah. But I remember that in that moment, I was floored. I was floored that someone that didn't know someone wanted to take the time to try to bring someone else's happiness down.
You even have a best friend that turned on you.
I did. I had a really good friend that, it turns out that she was sort of doing some things that weren't the best. And, she kind of threw me under the bus to save herself or to take the attention away from herself. But even, with that, I look back with her especially, and she never said anything nice about anyone. And I caution girls that if it's fun a little bit to be around it. It's funny. And, you think that you're immune to it. But I can promise you, and I've seen this time and time again, and I try to avoid people like that. If they're talking about other people, they're going to talk about you.
Absolutely.
And
That's
you will then
really
be one of the speed
message.
bumps and, that they run over. But when she came after me, what hurt me the most, I think, was that I believed her. I believed her bully propaganda. And she said some horrible things like, no one will go to your funeral. And as stupid as it sounds, it makes no sense, but as stupid, I believed it, and it destroyed me. It broke my heart. And what broke my heart more was acquaintances and friends that I had defended and I had tried to help were with her, or they didn't say anything because they didn't want to get involved. It wasn't their drama. But I urge people, it is, in fact, your drama. It's not drama that you need to partake in. But if someone's saying something bad about a friend and you say nothing, you are not a silent friend. You're a silent enemy.
Yeah. It's sometimes not saying anything in the face of a child being attacked or criticized. Then they associate this kid, and let's put yourself in their shoes. these awful things are being said to them, and they're looking around at people to see who's around. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And if you're standing there and you're looking and you're watching, the brain will actually associate a trauma with the entire environment. So let's say that, if you're sitting in this chair and I have a buzzer and I press this and it shocks you and it keeps shocking you, and then you come in the next day, you're going to be hesitant to sit in the chair.
Right.
You're just going to see the walls, and you're going to have some hesitation. You're going to have a little bit of that fear come up, and then you're going to walk into the room, and the smells, the lights, everything will reinforce it. So anytime that you are in a situation where you're being bullied or you're around these mean girls and things are being said, you're right. Whoever is around observing and not saying anything, they're partaking in it.
Absolutely. Saying nothing is essentially agreeing with the
so stand up for your friend.
I started talking with my friend in Chicago, Mark Landsberg, who has an advertising company, a great one called Social Deviant. And he came down and we were doing some things together, and it's based on kindness. And I told him that's never going to work. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and you got to be tough and you got to do these things. And he said, kindness can be strong, Courtney. And he said, you're kind. I'm like, I know, but I've gotten stepped all over. I don't want to be kind anymore.
Absolutely.
But I really started to think about it, and he is doing so well and doing such great things. And I brought up to him, a little bit back, to be kind warriors, not to put the connotation of kindness as a weakness, but to be strong in your kindness. And it's not always easy. It's not always great to be the one person standing by somebody else, but it is what's right.
It is what's right, and it is something that needs to be observed. Do you remember back in school, and it doesn't have anything to do with you, but you remember the one girl in school that friends said, gosh, she's so nice, and she's such a kind person.
Right.
And they don't have anything negative to say about her. I mean, that individual, their grades are great. They're on the cheer team and they're just super sweet. I hear this, and it does exist.
It absolutely does. And I guess I'm more concerned about why people think other people are mean that don't do anything, why it's okay to judge people. I don't think, there's a few, the Kardashians are a hard subject because they do promote themselves so much. But I didn't think it was okay when Kim posted that picture of herself, and she did it for women empowerment, and thousands and thousands of people went on and said mean things about her body, or celebrities did. That's not okay. It's not a step away and don't say anything. But to pick on anyone because you feel the need because they're higher, they're pretty, or they have more money than you is not okay. That makes you a bully.
And you can't judge them by what they have and how they look and where they come from.
You don't know how they're feeling. You don't know if it hurts them. And then you can't really feed into bullies. Unfortunately, regardless of if you're going to vote for him or not, despite the fact of all of his talents, Trump is a bully. He likes to bully people. And I've met him. He is a very nice guy. He's a very smart man. But everyone that feeds into the times that he does bully, and it's not all the time, but when he does and we feed into that, that's what he wants. That it's fame and talking about and feeding in the drama, that's fuel for bullies. They enjoy it. And if you give them your attention, then that's what they want. You need to turn your back on them because bullies are suffering too, and they probably don't want to always do that.
Absolutely, yeah. And they actually, it's usually a front. These individuals are usually some of the most afraid, some of the most hurt and damaged individuals, and really it's like a front that don't come close to me. I will get you or I will knock you down, but really they're broken on the inside, and they're not
terribly broken. I think there's no reason why. I've just been attacked recently on Facebook, and it was very strange for me because I didn't even know the person. And she obviously didn't read the post that she responded to. But I immediately had friends calling me and saying bad things about her, that, who she was and what she was. And I tried to tell her, I tried to stop it and explain to her not to do that. And she wouldn't really listen. And I think it just came down to that she was just, whatever she was reflecting on me, because I kept trying to explain what I was writing about. And it was actually writing about talking to people about bullying. So I think that she was just reflecting really a lot of her sadness and anger on me. And I realized by keeping the post up and doing what I was doing was I was feeding into her, what she wanted.
Probably sitting back and she's thinking differently about everything. So it's like, look at what I created.
I think she was a little bit, I got her, and I want her, she didn't.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's okay. Right. And I think it's taken me a long time to get to that point where I used to want to, and I wish, I was like that as a young girl. I wish the things I didn't feed on them for forever. And I used to. I don't know if you heard this story by the woman when it's a speaker that goes around. She's holding half a glass of water, and everyone is ready for her to say, is this glass half full or half empty? Mm-hmm. And she says, it's not how full the glass is, it's how long I'm holding it for. And she's holding the glass, and she's like, I'm holding it right now. It doesn't bother me. And that's her anger. But after 5 minutes, it starts to sort of irritate me. After a day, my arm goes numb, and I can't hold it anymore. And I think one of the good things you need to do is to let go of what people have done to you, because otherwise it keeps hurting you.
And if you entertain it, you keep it alive.
Right.
And so that could be said about these internet posts, and seeing that if you obsess about it being there and you overthink about it, it will haunt you. And it's there, but they're watching really your reaction. Are you going to counterattack? Are you going to say something? But if you're humble, polite, and quiet, and act as if it doesn't bother you,
and even
you're taking
if
the high road.
It does, I can promise you most times it's a sport. They're doing it. They think they're so funny, or they've thrown a barb at you, and they've got you, but they've forgotten about it. That's what the problem is they forgot about it as soon as they did it, and the person they injured might think about it for forever.
Absolutely. We're visiting with Courtney Kennebeck. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rodney Anderson, inviting you to tune into my daily radio show from 11 a.m. to noon on Talk Radio 1190 a.m. Listen in for sound financial advice, and I'll answer all your money questions and more, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. on Talk Radio 1190.
You appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 7788 at checkout. Code 7788.
The right way to do things. For us at WeatherTech, it's the only way to do things. I'm David McNeil, founder of WeatherTech. A long time ago, our company had a decision to make about where we wanted to manufacture our floor liners. And to tell you the truth, it wasn't a hard decision. We wanted to manufacture the highest quality, most advanced vehicle floor protection in the world. We also wanted to do our part in helping our neighbors, helping the economy, and protecting the planet we all share. That's why we chose to build our new factories right here in America, using American raw materials, American tooling and equipment, and of course, hiring American workers. So now that you know how much effort we put into doing things the right way, just imagine the kind of detail that goes into the craftsmanship of creating our floor liners. Learn more today about our full line of automotive accessories at WeatherTech.com or call 1-800-CarMats. WeatherTech Floor Liners. Complete protection. Completely American-made.
Lumber Liquidators' 13th annual April sale is here. It's the biggest hardwood flooring clearance event of the year. Get once-in-a-lifetime prices on top-quality North American and European laminate from 29 cents. Our lowest price on our thickest 12mm laminate for just 79 cents. 150 styles of pre-finished hardwood from 89 cents. 30 varieties of pre-finished bamboo from 179. Plus clearance prices on vinyl plank, woodlook tile, and more at your local store. There are just too many deals to list. And special financing. Visit LumberLiquidators.com to find a store near you and get to the famous April sale today.
Hi, this is Bernadette. Do you want to get to know your body inside and out? Now you can tune into One Life Radio twice a day. Wake up with us at 5 and go to lunch with us at noon. Weekdays right here on Talk Radio 1190.
Hi, we're back. And if you're just joining us, we're visiting with Courtney Kennebeck. And, and I keep refraining from saying the lovely Miss Courtney Kennebeck.
Lovely is a nice word.
It is a very nice word. It's very complimentary. But, just professional, wanting to be professional. Let's go back to that Trump.
I feel a little bit bad about saying that because it made me sort of sound like a bully. I think what bothered me was when he posted the picture of Melania and Cruz's wife. I've met Melania. She's lovely, and I think that she is really, personally, I think she's being a little bit bullied in the press because no one's taken the time to talk to her, and you can't judge it's very unfortunate that they're judging someone because she is beautiful.
And there are a lot of assumptions here. And
they don't know how smart. They don't know anything about her.
They don't know anything about her, but they see that,
she's
you
pretty,
look at Trump, and she's a trophy wife, and she has an easy life, and so that's exactly what we're talking about.
I do know that she hasn't had. I will say this, what I think I can about her. She hasn't had such an easy, a great easy life. She comes from. She worked very hard. I know that. I do know definitely that she has been very good to him and really never. I would say she would be a kind warrior to him. She doesn't let people say bad things, and she herself doesn't say bad things about other people. And I have a lot of respect for people that do that. And I have a lot of respect for Donald Trump as well, but I wish he would not have posted that picture because it really clumped. It was almost like because Melania was then it was reinforcing the fact that she was beautiful, and that was just all that she was.
And that was the picture that he posted about
with
Ted Cruz's wife.
And that's also not nice to pick on somebody else for their looks.
None
looks. Of that was good. Bad Trump on that one.
bad Trump, bad mistake.
And then we were talking about Kanye, who's even worse about being a bully. But look how that turned out. I was saying that's really turned out well for Taylor Swift standing up to her bully in a kind way.
In a kind way,
and she's done a lot better than him.
So that's like the whole lesson of turning a cheek.
Absolutely.
And people will see it because it's almost like a game of ping pong. If somebody volleys to you, and now they're like, oh, okay, what is she going to say?
Keeping that game going, right?
So it's your reaction at that moment, and so that goes back to being in school and a comment made to you, a rumor that's being spread, or somebody courageously or boldly saying something ugly to your face, and how are you going to respond?
Right. I think what I do think that she did was good. I think originally she was turning the cheek, and then I think she came out and said that's not okay. And she did it in songs and in different ways. But I think you can't let people continue to do that, even if you just say that's not okay. I've done so many things where I regret not doing that. I've had people that think they're being nice, but they're not, and I wonder if it goes on to hurt other people. I've had friends feel very comfortable telling me they don't like my hair or that my dress is or something, but because it's physical and it's me and I was a model, it's okay to say. But if I were to say that to anyone else, it would be very hurtful.
It's like the lingo that you're used to. Okay, here's your shoe size. Okay, your feet. Here's your shoulders. Here's your belly. And so it's like it just almost objectifying your body.
It's bizarre because people need to listen to what comes out of their mouths, and it would. I'm sure, rock stars, I could play that chord better than you, or basketball players, I could do that better than you, and because it's their profession, it's okay, but I wouldn't go in and tell a banker I can count better than you, or you didn't count that great.
Well, you really have no idea who they are or what they've been through.
You don't, and it's just I think if you have the chance, go with kindness, go with a compliment, as opposed to there's no reason to tell people you don't like something or silence is golden.
Silence is golden. So Courtney, you know a lot of people. You've known celebrities types. You've known celebrities. What organizations and resources can help parents? Should parents know about for their kids and girls?
Well, right now, this is just something I'm recently started getting interested in. There's a woman named Sarah Zink in Fort Worth who started a company called Plaid for Women, and it brings women together to build leadership and to help each other to, make that strong in the workforce. And I think that's fantastic. But even more so, she has started a program called No Mean Girls. And I know you can go on their website, Plaid for Women, and look at it. And they've got pamphlets and notebooks, and it's every day or every week. I can't remember which one, but you go and you do these things. You give someone a gift. You you sit by someone that's alone. You go and you just do these actions. And I think these actions is just something that's very important. You need to not just say you're not going to be mean. You go and you do these things. And I know a mutual friend of ours, Jeff Crilly, has always said that there's like angel messengers, and we don't know when we've done a kind act to someone how that affects their life. There are definitely times, I think, when people might be close to suicide, or, I mean, that's the worst case, but really feeling down about themselves, and just a simple, hey, I hope you're doing good, and taking the moment can change someone's path.
Just a small gesture of kindness.
Absolutely.
In the way that you react.
Be a kind warrior.
And I know Jeff, and he's a super nice guy.
He's an amazing guy.
I mean, you just meet him, and it's like you've known him forever.
Absolutely.
And
he's got a little glow about him.
He does. and people have, every single person is capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
And it's just really, it's really a skill set, and you just polish it. It's people skills, like how to connect, and how to create just a little bit of home comfort with an individual in a few little gestures.
Why we're afraid of it? Just saying something nice to something. My daughter has this innate quality, and it drives me crazy sometimes in Starbucks. But she will walk up to 3 or 4 people and say, "I like your blouse. I like your brooch. I like your hair today." And I'm like, oh, always trying to rush her out. But I realized that she's made an impact that I haven't made, even though I run 2 charities. Much more so by just doing those little things.
Yeah. And you know what? But for kids at that age, I think that's a good start.
Absolutely.
Because like developmentally, that's just what they're aware of, is just their immediate environment, the immediacy of things. But as they get older, they start looking, they're so used to looking out for the positive that they can actually identify now gestures and behaviors and reactions and say, that was cool. That was a really nice way that you complimented that person, or great job. You worked really hard at that.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's so much nicer. I mean, everyone loves to hear they've done a good job or done something well.
Yeah. And for little girls, it's not about like telling them, oh, you're so pretty. Oh, look at how great you look. But it's about, really identifying for them like the effort that they've taken, and like their courage, and the things that they do. Yesterday we were at a crawfish boil with I took 8 kids, again the same 8 kids that were running around the store, and they were wrapping up a crawfish boil, and my daughter Haley, she's 14, and she can be very shy, very quiet, soft spoken. And there was a box of these live crawfish, and they were packing everything up. And kids were poking at them. There was a stick there. It was just for kids to kind of play around with. And she goes, "Dad, can we let him go?" And I was like, "Well, why don't you go ask that guy?" Because we'll come with me. And I was like, "Honey, why don't you go and try it?" And I watched her walk over to him and ask, "Can we have these?" Right. And he said, "Well, what are you going to do with them?" And he was being really fun with her. And she goes, "Well, we're going to let him go." He goes, "Where are you going to let him go at?" And he had a smile on his face. And she goes, "Yeah, why don't you grab that box over there, and you can take them."
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so then I went back to her. I was like, "Haley, you did it. That was awesome."
Right.
See how easy it is to just go.
Because I can just imagine how scared I remember
terrified.
walking up to people. That was a big deal for her to do. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Hey, I'll let her know you said that. But just little acts like that, having
Absolutely.
kids kind of practice things that will become habit, and just really,
because you get over it, you get better.
Yeah, you really do.
I had to.
Yes, and it takes practice, but you have to start somewhere. And I think that going back to what your parents did for you, and how they really wanted to keep you grounded in, like, okay, no, you have to go to school, or you want you to go to prom, and kept like, well, you're special, but you have to walk the line and be a normal individual.
I mean, I'm very, very thankful. I mean, although I pretend like I have regrets that I could have done a lot better in that modeling world, I'm very happy that I also could have suffered a lot more. I could have gotten into a worse crowd. So I'm very happy. I'll take that ice and be a snow queen and be boring. That's okay.
If that means, okay, you're not you're
Elsa's
partying
cool
with us
now,
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, well,
it's just taken 20 years.
But it's actually made you who you are. And
yes.
it's helped you to kind of really refine yourself, because you really are just genuinely nice. And unfortunately, like, people will judge you. People will judge pretty kids. people will judge pretty people. And I look at me, I even saying pretty people because there's a whole category for that. But, when they get to know you, and that's really what it's about. You don't make these assumptions about people before you actually know who they are.
I mean, I think everyone should try to get to know everybody a little better and not just judge a book by their cover, but not judge an action. And then if you don't like someone, I think it's okay to do that too. I think then just move along. I found that exists. I mean, I've been so many places and met some people are just not meant to be together at that time. And you just say a nice thing and go on your way.
Absolutely. Let's kind of recap the show. So for parents, encouraging words, be encouraging.
Be on their side. Tell them that they're doing good. Just really being there for them. My mom always said to me, I had Sam, so Sam is my responsibility. That is my life now, and I couldn't be more proud. It's not always easy, but she makes me laugh and she makes me smile more than anybody else in the world.
She's sweetie. She really is. Body image, self-esteem.
Oh, I think that one is so hard. I think healthy. I would encourage people to be healthy, but I don't think anyone can tell you how you should feel, and I don't think you should look to someone to how you should look, because I can promise you that those girls that you're looking up to are suffering a tremendous amount, and it's not what you would want to do.
Yeah. And it's about remembering the lessons your parents told you when you feel sad and doubtful. Parents have been encouraging their children and building them up. So when you do feel upset and nervous and worried,
and always focus on what you've done good. I'm sure everyone can always find something that they are good at.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then kind of brag to yourself about it. We're not great at complimenting ourselves.
Yes.
So
absolutely. And be kind. Say kind things.
Be
Practice
kind.
this.
Go out and be a kind warrior.
Absolutely.
Stand by your friends. Stand by the underdogs. Stand by those in need. And most importantly, stand by yourself.
Courtney, thank you so much for being on the show. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you listening.